guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel.
It's so funny.
Restart. Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name's Mia.
I'm Danny.
We're both sophomores here at Vanderbilt, and you guys have been asking for a Q&A, and you guys sent in a ton of questions that we're gonna answer. We're gonna spill all the tea today, so let's get into the video. First, before we start, Danny's gonna give a little introduction of herself.
I'm Danny. I'm a sophomore, like she said, and I'm from Miami.
Hey. Also, my mirror is low-key exposing me because I didn't make my bed this morning, so just ignore that. First question is from Emma B08, and she said, what kind of social activities are there? Like, are there just frats, or do you just go out to bars?
So, I feel like Vanderbilt's really unique because we are in Nashville. We have Broadway, which is obviously so fun. But we also like do have like the frat scene. So it's kind of like whatever you're into. And you can kind of like go out as much as you do or don't want to.
And I'd also say Vanderbilt, I've said this all the time on my TikTok as well, but Vanderbilt has like a very like work hard, play hard kind of environment.
That's like the number one way I describe it.
Yeah, the number one way. And it's, I feel like students on the weekend are very much getting their stuff together, and then like once they're done with that, then they'll go out and party hard. Everyone values their academics, but like there's definitely a good balance, and I think it's honestly kind of hard to get like lost in like a party scene here because everyone around you is very like focused on like their career goals and like doing well in school. So there's definitely like a really good balance, I would say. So a lot of people like think that Vanderbilt is like a smart school and like we don't party, and it's like Vanderbilt kids don't go out. Like we party, like we have fun, but we also like get our stuff done. Sasha.ek asked, favorite class you've taken? I'm an HOD major, and we'll talk more about that later, but my favorite class is HOD 1300 with Professor Carlone. If you come here, he is the best HOD professor. With small group behavior, so we just got in like little small groups at the beginning of the semester, and you work with your small group throughout the entire semester. There were no tests. Homework was like you record a video journal of yourself every week. All the assessments were like group presentations. So much fun. I learned so much. It was my favorite class ever.
I would say my favorite class, also an HOD major. First semester freshman year, I took a Greek Mits class because cool thing about Vandy is the liberal arts education. So you can kind of just take whatever you want sometimes. My professor was cool, and like we got really interesting assignments, like find an example of like myths in modern media. So like I got to write a 2-page essay on like Game of Thrones and how it like gets like inspiration from Greek myths. There's also, I didn't know this, I'm taking this next semester, there's a Harry Potter class that goes and studies for spring break. It's only offered in the spring, and for spring break they go to London. I want to take that. You should. Let's take it together. Let's go to London. Yeah. Anisha 1412 asked, what's one thing about Vanderbilt that surprised you? I'm gonna think about this one. I thought there was gonna be way more like school spirit. As we are an SEC school, it's definitely a lot different of a vibe in terms of like sports and like school spirit than like say like UT Knox or like some of the other like big SEC schools. Our sports programs, I would not say are the greatest. We're in the SEC, we are NCAA D1. We so, like, are doors, we love our doors. You can be as school spirited as you want. So like, if you're worried about like, oh, I'm gonna go to the games, there's gonna be no one there, no one's gonna be into it. No, there's like people there. If you want to go to the games and be into it, there's a group of people there that are into it and go, and like a lot of people go to the football games and have tailgates and like fun stuff like that. If you're like, oh, I'm not really into that, you could also not be really into that and not feel the school spirit. I think it's as much as you put into it. Wait, what's one thing that surprised me? Let's say how extracurricular based it is. Like how many extracurriculars a lot of people do. I knew like it was gonna be like a very like academic intensive class, but everyone does so much. Basically think of Vanderbilt as like most outgoing and involved person from your high school, the captain of the football team, captain of the cheerleading team, involved in every single extracurricular, president of NHS. Take all of those kids, in one space. Put them all in one school. That is Vanderbilt. So Amelia_Sarah06 asked, how has housing been for you and where have you lived? And then this also goes along with a question that Charlotte.Lacey asked, and she said, what was finding a roommate like your freshman year? So starting with the housing question, I personally lived in North House, which was a really great experience because I was lucky enough to get my own private bathroom. So I had like a huge dorm, lots of space. I had a great housing experience. All the freshmen live on this one place on campus called Commons, and no other upperclassmen are allowed to live there. It's just specifically dedicated to the freshmen, and the reason they do that is so that you can like meet your class
class and like be friends with all these people. It's very community based and it's super fun because you also are assigned to this person called your VU Scepter, which DANI is. I'm applying for this year, so maybe you'll get me as a VU Scepter. If you don't know what a VU Scepter is, it's basically an upperclassman that takes you through
an orientation leader.
Yeah,
it's
orientation leader.
Involved than that. How it works, you get randomly sorted to your house
and they introduce themselves to you.
Yes.
And then you
Just
have like a meeting
basically
with them.
like a mentor to like check on you, like
Exactly.
see how you are, any concerns, and we guide you through orientation. You have everyone in your VUSEP group that you can make friends with, which is cool because like you wouldn't be friends with those people otherwise. So it's like mix of majors, mix of houses. You just meet like once a week for the next 6 weeks, so it's not just orientation. It's like a fun little mentor.
I'm still friends with a lot of the people in like that were in my group, especially if you're an introvert. Like it's the best way to like make sure that you're really getting out there and meeting people as well. For the finding a roommate question, I personally reached out to someone via Instagram before I got here, so I picked my roommate, and a lot of girls I know do pick their roommate. I know guys do that too, but it's also like very common to go random. So it's really
random.
Yeah, it's really just your preference. You're gonna have a roommate either way. My thought process was like, oh, I'd rather just like know who it is before move-in day. And I've had like both experiences. Like I picked my roommate for my freshman year, and then this year I did random housing and random roommate. So like I've had both sides of the stick. They were both like completely fine. Ruby3256.c from my YouTube asked, best and worst parts of going to Vandy. I'm gonna start with the worst part. I think how competitive it is to get into a club. There are so many organizations, but there's a lot here that are like they have very extensive like rush processes, interview rounds. There's a lot of organizations that have like a 1 or 2% acceptance rate, like harder to get into than it is to get into the school. And I just think like while yes, it's like great to be competitive, it's also just like it's hard sometimes when it's like you really want to be in an org and it's like there's such an extensive process. But it is very rewarding if you are in it. And there's also a lot of clubs that are like there's no like interview process. Like you can just join if you want to join. But it's good to be in some of the more competitive clubs.
There's definitely a lot of resources in them. Like I'm in a business frat. You definitely get a lot of resources, but I'm also very much like you do not need it to succeed at all. If you do not get in, it is like literally not the end of the world at all. I think it matters more your personal drive and like what you want to do, and like if you can find those resources if you need to. You literally have to go through like it's like rushing a business fraternity or like rushing tour guides.
And if you want to become a tour guide, there's like 4 or 5 rounds of interviews that you can get cut from like each round. Like it's very extensive, and like the students here take it very seriously because it's like this is their organization, this is like their representation of the school, this is their representation of themselves. So it makes sense why it's so competitive, but sometimes it is just like on to like the best part of Vanderbilt. I think it's the community of the students and like how many like-minded people you're surrounded with. Anyone you meet that goes here did something in high school or in their past like that is extraordinary to get to like where they are today. So even if it's like someone you might not like, someone you don't vibe with, you have to have that respect for them because it's like they got here, which I love that. And it's also like people here are very interesting. Like there's a lot of really cool people here.
I would agree. Like I think the community and the people are the coolest part. You meet people from so many different places. There's so many international students, there's so many people from different states and backgrounds. Like,
and I think people also think that Vanderbilt has a reputation of being just like the rich white kids. Like no, there's a lot of diversity on campus, in my opinion. Also,
like there are the rich white kids.
There are the rich white kids, but it is a very diverse campus. Like that's not the only type of person that you're gonna see. And I was gonna say something else too.
You can do it.
You said something and it like sparked something in me. Oh, I was gonna say everybody here also is not only like crazy smart, like they are also so like driven, motivated, and like self-starters and go-getters. At least for me, like I went to a high school where I just like didn't feel like I was around people that were really wanting to start something of their own, which is like I have a very entrepreneurial mindset. It just like felt crazy coming here to where everybody is like, let's do this, or it's like if you give an idea to like your classmate or something, like we should start like this program, 9 times out of 10 they're gonna say yes, absolutely, count me in. Someone asked, are the food options good?
So on campus you have like a lot of different food options. So I think there's like 10 different dining halls scattered throughout campus. They all have very different options, which like change every semester. The main one is called Rand, and there's a bunch of different stations. So you have like Mediterranean bowls, taco bowls, like a little like Asian stir-fry bowl, which are all very good. You have a Randwich, the Rand cookies.
Rand cookies have a reputation here of being
I came to this school for
so
the Rand
good.
cookies.
Yeah.
There's also the cool program Taste of Nashville, where they give you meal money, and you can go to a bunch of different local restaurants around Nashville that they're partnered with.
Okay, so I talked about this in one of my recent videos, but Vanderbilt basically gives you $225 every semester, and they put it on this thing called your Commodore card, but it's used as like meal money. So you can use it. There's a bunch of restaurants that are super close to campus that you can walk to, and they have this like setup that's like specifically for Vanderbilt students, and then you just like tap your phone or like your meal card, and then it takes the money from your meal money. So Amelia Lawrence asked, how and why did you choose HOD, and what are you hoping to do post-grad? So HOD, we talk about this a lot. We're both HOD majors. It stands for Human and Organizational Development. Whenever someone asks what it is, I always just say it's kind of like a mix of business, psychology, and like applied human development together. But basically, it's a major that like prepares you for the real world. You can go into anything with an HOD major, which is why a lot of people love it, and it's the most popular major at Vanderbilt.
A lot of people come to Vanderbilt just for the HOD program, because we don't have a business major, which might seem odd to people, but HOD was basically created by talking to the top like 500 companies in the US and asking like, what do you guys want from employees? Like what like traits and stuff are you looking for? Like interpersonal like relationship skills, like presenting skills, public speaking, and HOD teaches you all of that.
And when you graduate, exactly, when you graduate, you are fully prepared to go into like the corporate world, or honestly any job. I have a friend who's double majoring like pre-med and HOD. Like you can do literally anything.
You can do pre-med. I know people like obviously like finance consulting are the big ones, but you can go into public policy, you can go into like non-profit work, you can go into literally anything with an HOD major. That's the main reason why I chose it. I came in pre-med, and then I was like, no.
I came in psychology, and now I'm minoring in psychology and business.
I'm a majoring in psychology.
So that's why it's the most popular major on campus. For the second part, what are you hoping to do post-grad? Honestly, we're both sophomores, so I mean, at least for me, I don't completely have it figured out. I definitely know that I would love to like get like a corporate experience, open to like consulting, marketing. I have a lot of experience with marketing. Something in like the business entrepreneurship realm, but we are still young, so we're figuring it out. Another question that people would love to know is, what was the application process like for you with Vandy? So when I was a senior in high school, I feel like a lot of people know my story. My dream school was Yale. Ended up getting rejected from there. I applied REA, and I decided to do ED2 to Vanderbilt, and it ended up working out. I don't really have anything else much to say about it. Like, I didn't do an interview for just knew that. Yeah, I don't think I don't know anyone here that got an interview either. I have a stats and extracurricular video on my TikTok too if you want to. Yeah, just go watch that one.
My application process. So Vandy was not on my radar until I was just like researching school in August. So I visited in October because I was like, maybe I could ED here. I really like it. So I ED1, and then I got deferred ED1, and my life was over. And then I happened to get in regular decision. So I do think that demonstrated interest of me ED1 was really important. So if you really want to go here, and
I would definitely apply.
I would do ED, because the demonstrated interest is really important. Also, just like having a story in your application, I think is so important. Everything connecting and like showing your passions, and be really authentic. And if you're passionate about something, talk about it, and then that'll come through.
Someone asked, this is like major T. Somebody asked sororities. I've read racist and fatphobic comments. What are they really like? I personally am not in a sorority. I rushed my freshman year. Unfortunately though, I got dropped by my top house, so I decided to withdraw from Rush, and I never went to bid day or anything. I think that sororities and like Greek life is something that like can be very beneficial if you're wanting to meet new people, make new friends, especially because we rush in the spring semester. So if you still feel like after the fall semester like you're wanting a community and you want to make a friend group, rushing can be very beneficial.
Vandy is definitely a place where it's like, I wouldn't say it's like Greek life centered, but it is kind of.
The percentage of people that are in Greek life is like
22 points.
Yeah, it's like 20%. As somebody who has a lot of friends who are involved in Greek life, but I'm not in Greek life, it feels like almost 100% of people are in Greek life. So if you're someone who is friends with a lot of people who are in sororities in frats, it's gonna feel like it's very Greek life centered. But there's definitely a lot of people that you can make friends with in other organizations.
Like, you don't need to be super nice and I'm like really excited, of course. But you can still go to the frats, you still know what's going on.
I know that like in terms of like hazing for sororities, I don't know how it works for frats because I'm not a guy. But at least for sororities, I know that we're like not allowed to do any sort of like hazing.
There's no hazing that it's like hazing. Like they'll be like, oh, post a silly picture on your story. But
yeah, it's more like bonding things where it's like you get to know your PC.
Your sisters.
And if you don't know what PC means, it's pledge class.
It's nothing like crazy extreme. I've seen. Did you hear about that story?
What story?
And cut!
I don't really know that much about Greek life. This could all be completely wrong because I'm not personally in it, but this is
Again,
just
I've been in it for one day.
Daria's version 13 asked, is it expensive to study there? Vanderbilt, yes, is an expensive school. I'm not gonna lie about that, but Vanderbilt gives great financial aid.
It's the number one program in the country.
Yeah, it's one of the greatest programs in the country for financial aid, and they are very generous.
It's like if your family makes under 120K, you get like 100% tuition. You can get the Cornelius Vanderbilt scholarship. That's like 100% full ride. There's a bunch of scholarships that you can get, and also like if you go to the financial aid office and like let's say you like have an internship that you like need to drive your car and it's like 2 hours away and you can't afford gas, you can go to financial aid and they can like give you money for gas. So like Immersion Vanderbilt, they give you money for, or Experience Vanderbilt, they give you money for extracurriculars. So like I'm using that to pay for like my business frat and for my sorority and stuff. So like
there's so many scholarships you can apply to. The Vanderbilt donors are very generous as well, so.
Oh yeah. I just like
somebody asked like, what do you think about Nashville and the city itself? I absolutely love Nashville. I'm from San Diego, California, and I was so nervous to come to like, from like the West Coast to like Nashville, like Tennessee. Yeah. Very different, but like you definitely find your community here. Not everybody who goes to Vanderbilt is like country like that. There's a lot of people, like she's from Miami, I'm from San Diego. There's people from all over that you can make friends with. I would say I absolutely love that we are in the heart of Nashville where Broadway is. It is the best college bar area to like go to. It's so much fun. You meet so many random people on Broadway. Like you have the best time ever.
There's country people there.
There's country people there, but I would argue that Broadway is much more fun than going out to the frats. There's live music. You can go to Dayway, which is Broadway during the day. Some people are like nervous about like getting ID'd if you're like under 21, but Broadway during the day, you don't get ID'd. Like you just can go up to the rooftop of the bars. So and it's like there's live music all the time. There's like DJs. It's so much fun.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to do, as in like obviously there's Broadway and it's so fun and you can go out, but there's also like I love going to Percy Priest, which is like the lake by here, and you could go cliff jumping, which is so fun. And right next to the Parthenon, it's Centennial Park, which is like so nice.
Much fun. You can go have picnics there.
Whatever you want to do, there is something for you to do in Nashville.
That's all we have time for today. Thank you so much for watching, and if you submitted a question, I really appreciate it. Sorry if we couldn't answer every single one. We did our best to kind of touch on every aspect of Vanderbilt, but if you want to know anything else, my DMs are always open. You can also leave a comment in the comment section below, and I will do my best to answer all of them. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. Smash the subscribe button. You can follow me on all my socials. They're going to be linked down below as well. Also, let us know what other videos you want to see in the comment section down below. Love you.